Hey y'all, Andrew Reed with MushRune Cast, as presented by Mossy Creek Mushrooms, of course. And with me is my ever lovely esposa, since we ate Mexican tonight, Samantha Reed. Samantha,
Hi.
you are in the dark.
Am I?
It looks very dark for some reason.
Does that help?
Yes, big time. Okay, it was the camera's auto balance. Gotcha. Okay, well, hey guys, we're here with another evening for a Q&A. Let me get the live chat going so I can see stuff. Cool. Thank you very much, Falcor. I appreciate that. I was actually grooving to that a little bit before you guys saw. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I chose this song. I really like it. Samantha, what's up with you tonight?
It's really foggy outside and raining, and my hair is crazy. On top of other
I
things.
think your hair looks great. I feel like the heavy moisture days are the best days for my hair, so in fact I should probably let that down since we're in the evening. Excuse me while I grab some water. Today is a very special day. It's January 25th. You know what that means, don't you, Samantha?
It's your brother's birthday.
It's my brother's birthday. Happy birthday, brother.
Happy birthday.
Michael, if you're watching. If not, Mom, when you watch this later, you can send it to Michael. Happy birthday, brother.
Yeah, we just ate out and had a very good family evening, so thank you guys for your patience, and we tried to hurry back safely. So.
I was trying to signal to you to keep it going while I swallowed some water.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Keep it going. I'm drinking. All right, guys. So tonight is going to be entirely pretty much Q&A, and Samantha and I just kind of bullshitting. It's also not going to be a really long...
You said a wordy dird.
Crap, and within the first 10 minutes. Well, guess we're demonetized.
Ow.
As we are already. I can't monetize anything on my channel, so they've already gotten rid of that. Hey, speaking of, did you hear 90-second Mycology got taken down?
What?
Yeah, he got
Why?
like swatted hard.
Why?
I don't actually know. I think he said something about... He said something that was like mushroom something, I don't remember. But it ended up... they ended up swatting him down really hard. I think they basically just said, here's a strike and here's 2 more, and now you can never post on your channel again or something.
That's really sad.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, it's crazy. So he and there's a few other mushroom YouTubers that are under attack. So what a lot of us are deciding to do is I've already kind of posted a little bit of stuff on Rumble, not much, but I think I'm going to go back through and upload our entire video library from the channel onto Rumble. And we'll also start trying to work on getting live streams up to where we can live stream to YouTube and Rumble at the same time.
oh, and they say Yoshi's gone too.
Oh, that's right. Yoshi Amano got taken down. I forgot about that.
I'm probably uploading to other platforms, just in case.
I think that's going to be the case for it. Unfortunately, it seems like YouTube has really decided that they're very anti-free speech, and at least Rumble. I know it's kind of
now
known.
You've definitely secured it. Good job.
Well, fair enough.
Our slow demise.
Whatever. I don't care where you are, left or right. Free speech is pretty critical for us, especially for our kind of how-to channels that are on the fringe. So, us mushroom people, we're kind of weird anyways. Oh yeah, Chris Kennedy, I saw that last week or something like that. You said that you had said something like mushroom caps or something. I will say, you can say a lot of stuff on live streams that you can't type. And Eric Myers once had a channel that was like 65,000 subscribers strong.
It was very impressive.
It was very impressive. And he got swatted down because when people would ask him, where can I buy this? And he would give them a link that led off of YouTube.
Yeah, he would comment a link in the reply that would make it easier for them to be able to access to it, the information that they were genuinely asking for.
Yep.
And then,
And then YouTube said it was spamming. Especially spamming off-site.
Oh.
And that it broke their terms of service. So they basically gave him 3 strikes in a row and killed his channel and said you basically had to restart the whole channel again.
And rebuild it from scratch.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of them. So, I mean, for us guys, like I said, I'm going to try to get us on Spotify, Rumble, and YouTube, and get our entire video library backed up on Rumble. I've had a few other suggestions, something like BitChute, things like that. I didn't know people still used BitChute. I remember that from like when I was in college, 2005, 2006. So, something like that, anyways.
All I remember from back then is Zanga.
Yeah,
For
that's
dating
right.
ourselves.
Zanga, yeah. Well, that's all right. We're old, but we're not that old. Yeah, I agree with Falcor. How do you spam on your own channel? Like, that makes no sense to me. Like, I'm on my channel. My subscribers are here talking to me. If you got, like, this is one of the things why when people ask me where to get stuff in comments, I will not link it. I'll just say, you can go here. And then basically, that's not seen as spamming. What it is YouTube really doesn't want you linking off-site. Because what they want is to get people caught into one video click after another video. They want your eyeballs on their ad revenue. They've demonetized like my entire channel and then sent me a nicely worded email saying, hey, just so you know you're demonetized, or we demonetize most of your videos. We noticed that you decided to demonetize your entire channel. We reserve the right to continue playing ads on your content and pocket the entire money ourselves. Which is why we have our own sponsorships and we push our own products and things like that, because it's what pays to keep a roof over our head and the Tennessee flag on my desk and, etc. So we appreciate all the support you guys give us. We do need to throw some support, I hope, towards the other mushroom guys who are going through a rough time as well. Like, I've always wondered how the psilocybin guys, like Willie Myco and those kind of guys, get away with it. Talking openly about it, because it is actually against YouTube's policies. But I figured since they let those channels kind of get bigger, that they would let more less
agricultural channels,
less illicit stuff. I mean, Yoshi was illicit stuff, and I think 90 Second had some, but for the most part, I think he did a lot of gourmet stuff too. Like it was his techniques that he was interested in spreading, and love him or hate him or like his techniques or not, like, he shouldn't have been under attack like that. Like, it just sucks. So, unfortunately, that's the kind of pressures people take, and we've been really fortunate to thread the needle for so long. The biggest thing that we've had is a couple copyright strikes where I've used some music and, or Samantha and I were doing a live stream one time and there was music playing in the background, like, several rooms down the hall.
And it picked it up.
And
just ever so slightly.
I couldn't hear it on the video.
Yeah.
But the YouTube algorithm could hear it and picked it up.
Interesting.
Yeah. Oh yeah, super interesting. But yeah. Anyways, we welcome you guys. Tonight is a free for all, so like I said, we're just going to be BSing and answering comments as we go. So feel free to really lay them on. Unlike most live streams where we're trying to make them a little bit more topical, we're here for you guys. So
free for all.
Free for all. Absolutely. Well, just feed
in more than one way. That's like double speak.
There you go. Well, feel free to feed me anything that's coming through the chat. I don't have a good chat set up, where I can see things, but you can let me know what's going on, Samantha. So.
Yeah. So Joe had a question of, have you used a dehydrated mushroom to grow LC before?
No, I haven't, but I know of people who have. Excuse me. For the most part, we ate, and now I'm hungry. I mean, I'm full and sleepy, so.
You're hungry for sleep.
I'm hungry for sleep. I have not personally grown out a liquid culture from a dehydrated mushroom. However, I know of some people that have. The biggest thing that I've seen is that if a species produces something called asospores, they are literally clonal spores that are laid up along the mycelium network. And then what happens is, if that mushroom organism dies due to dehydration or any other stressor, some of those spores will hopefully survive. When rains come or better conditions come, those spores regerminate and then grow back into a mycelial network. My understanding is you can revive species from dehydrated mushrooms that have asospores because you're just cloning, you're growing out the clonal spore. But if something is fully dehydrated, no, it's very unlikely that you're going to get tissue that's viable from that. I'm not going to say impossible, but if it doesn't produce asospores, it's unlikely to happen. There's just once you completely remove any water from the tissue, I just can't see how how anything would survive that other than, unless it has a shell of some sort.
Um, what's a good way to start commercial growing functional mushrooms with limited space? And that was asked by Ruptro. Sorry if I butchered that. I probably did.
So functional mushrooms, I'm assuming we're talking like cordyceps, reishi, things like that, versus gourmet mushrooms. Even though most of the gourmet mushrooms I would still consider, in fact, some of the gourmets have the best studies for health benefits compared to a lot of the medicinals. A lot of the medicinals, we don't know more than we know. But it's talking about functional. Dehydrated is a good way to go. We're about to start posting our dehydrated reishi on our website, that kind of stuff. Cordyceps, what I would do is dehydrate these things, and then typically, if you can do a value added like an extracts seem to be very popular right now. If you're wanting to sell to the extract market, then growing and showing your grows are very, very important because they want USA grown a lot of times. And what you'll do is you'll get the you'll say it's USA grown, show your work, and then post it. Just post your product up somewhere for sale, and then just continually push it. I mean, that's the biggest thing I think of. Cold calling, like I would call up some of these functional mushroom companies and ask them, hey, do you guys need any more sources for USA grown mushrooms? I've got a certain amount of dehydrated this or that. If they're big companies, they're unlikely to want to deal with small companies producing a pound or two. They want to do a deal where they can buy, tens of pounds or whatever at a time. So, but a lot more people, like individuals, are becoming interested in it. So we put it on our website. We've barely advertised that we sell dehydrated lion's mane and hericiums, and we're selling quite a bit of just dehydrated, it's just coming out packet after packet. So that's really the best thing I can think of, is just to have it, get it out there and show your work. Show that it's USA grown,
Well, it's something that was kind of specific in the question was, growing functional mushrooms with limited space. It's something that we did
my bad.
when we didn't have a lot of space. We hired someone with a GAP certified building to grow out the mushrooms for us while we did more of the lab work. And that worked out really well for a little bit until we were able to expand into a larger space. And
we used the money from that to pay for the grow room and stuff.
And you just have a little bit, trickling in, and then you can process it in a commercial space as far as like a commercial kitchen, or if you have a chef who's willing to lend a hand or rent you their kitchen on the weekend, or we've had a lot of offers like that from chefs that we've known for a very long time and that trust us and respect us, and vice versa. And so having those relationships is really nice too. And then on top of that, you can utilize outside space if you have that. If you don't have indoor space, we grew in greenhouses there for a little bit, and that worked out pretty well until the fungus beetles found us. So, there's pros and cons to everything, but that's a few different things that you can look at as well. And oftentimes, just start small, slowly, baby step your way up, and then, before you know it, one thing feeds into another, and you just keep growing. So I wouldn't give up just because you don't have the perfect space yet. So
yeah, absolutely. There's also, with a lot of the functional stuff, you can stack, let's see, behind Samantha, above her shoulder there, yeah, there you go. There's a bunch of reishi. You actually see some reishi sitting on some fish tanks back there. But there's a big shelf full of reishis right behind her, and
Yeah.
that honestly, those are not antlering, but the ones behind that you can't see right now have pretty much filled the top of the bags and are about to be harvested.
And if you take advantage of the vertical space,
right,
that helps.
that's what I was going to say. Is that a lot of times these functional mushrooms like reishi, you can fruit right in the bag. You get all the antler form. It takes a while, so you just need some incubation space. But if you take, I mean, you can see I've got 40 bags sitting on that one rack, and then each bag should produce, a few ounces of reishi, and each ounce of reishi. Last time we were selling it for $96 an ounce, dried. I'd say the price has come down in the market now because there are more growers. Turkey tail is a great one, but it doesn't seem to be. Turkey tail, as far as I can tell, is one of the best medicinally researched mushrooms out there. And one of the best the ones with the most folkloric use and some of the best medicinal modern studies. In Japan and Korea, it's like South Korea, they're using PSK, which is polysaccharide K, comes naturally from turkey tail mushrooms. They're using that for cancer treatments alongside chemotherapy and radiation. And they've shown through many studies that it increases survivability. Why it's not in the U.S., why it's not commonly used, I don't know. My best guess is because it's cheap. It's cheap to produce. It's cheap to obtain. And for some reason, American companies really don't like cheap, effective stuff. So that's unfair. That's unfair. There are lots of cheap and effective medicines like aspirin, and most vaccines these days are pretty cheap and effective. But
Well, and this is something that we've talked about at the farmers markets too. When we lowered our prices because we wanted everyone to be able to buy our mushrooms, there was a little bit of suspicion as to, why is this so low in cost? And so, are they cutting corners? Are they? There's those questions that are being asked. So.
Right. As far as growing turkey tail for medicinal stuff as the functional mushrooms, that's incredibly strain dependent. Right now, Samantha and I are this summer for us is going to be a very big turkey tail summer. Right now, oysters are going on, so through this hard freeze, we've not had anything. But now that the ground is soaked and chilled, and the temperatures are back up to the 40s, 50s, etc. Shoot, it was like 60 degrees today.
The snow is gone and the fog is here.
The fog is here. My favorite weather, but it also means oyster mushroom weather. Here in East Tennessee, wintertime is oyster season. So we're about to start bioprospecting that. But this summer will be all about reishi and turkey tail. So, largely. But in order to get really good fronds and really good growth, it does seem like it's very strain dependent to be able to get good growth indoors. So...
Oh, yeah.
What you got?
So Chris has asked, if blocks are already in the grow room but seem to be a bit dry, how would you get water into them quickly?
If blocks are already in the grow room but seem a bit dry, how would I get water into them quickly? Just start squirting them with a water hose. I mean, that's literally what I would do. I would just literally start going into the grow room once a day or so and going, you still look dry. Just that's what I would do.
You wouldn't turn up your humidity and have a higher.
I mean, if you just asked to get water in the blocks, not water in the air.
Wouldn't they take water from the air?
Probably some, but probably not as effective as soaking the block.
Just don't spray it with a pressure washer straight on, because we had someone do that and it's not pretty.
Well, we used to do that with shiitake though.
Not straight on. Did you? Because I did not.
I did.
Okay. Well, how'd that work out for you? Did you get blowback?
It was good. I tell you.
Aww.
I tell you.
You're gonna make me cry.
Missing Jackie.
Yeah. Interesting.
That was ladies, or what was her, Lady Swan or whatever. And that's who they were always imitating. I do miss Jack and Tristan. Jack, Tristan, if you're watching, come back to us. We'll pay you whatever you want. I don't care if I go broke and my children starve.
Oh my goodness, no.
Oh my gosh! I couldn't see it from over here, but now that I've got you on camera, I can absolutely see the water in your eyes. I apologize.
Don't do that. You're mean.
I'm sorry. I do miss them too. What's the next thing?
Oh man. Anyway,
Do you need a moment?
I need a moment.
Okay, give me a second. I'll find something. Let me. Can you tell us some mushroom folklore? That's probably way down from where you are. So, yes, a little bit of mushroom folklore. Let me think for a second. Here's some mushroom folklore. One day, man was looking for a woman, and man could not find woman. So man goes to Raven and says, "Raven, you are wise. Where can I find woman?" And Raven says, I don't know.
It's a Jackie story.
This is not a Jackie story. A different type of native. And so, hey, any Pacific Northwestern natives, please don't take offense of me telling this story poorly.
Or any.
So Raven says, I don't know. But I think, what was it? Dwally may know. Mushroom will know. So they go find Mushroom Man. They go deep in the forest, and there they find Mushroom Man, and they said, Mushroom Man, where is woman? And Mushroom Man says, oh, I know. She's across the waters. So they build a canoe, and they all get in, and Mushroom Man guides man across the waters through many dangers, storms, and sea creatures and the like, till they reach the other side, and there Mushroom Man brings man to woman. That's pretty much it. I don't know the rest of it. That's the story. It's about as good as it gets for me. There's you some mushroom folklore. You asked for it.
What about Sinumate?
Sinumate is the mother of mushrooms. She is the daughter of the mother of the forest in Latvian mythology. And Sinumate, I think the story goes that when Father Sky comes to basically Mother Earth and lays upon her, then forth came a daughter, Sinumate, the mother of mushrooms, which makes sense. Father Sky comes and he rains down on mother, fertilizing the mother or whatever, and then mushrooms come out of the ground. I think that's as much as the folklore I know there.
We really do need to brush up on some more. I would actually really like to make it more a part of our branding. Not necessarily in the way that we're just kind of stealing these things and adopting them as our own, but more of using our voice, using our brand, using our channel, using everything that we do to highlight these things that already exist in the world and bring more kind of educational things out there, because I feel like that's really what represents us more than anything. So I think that would be really neat.
That's cool.
Joe
said that he knew Jack and his grandmother Vicky.
Really?
And they played flutes together. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we are big fans of Jackie. We love Jackie and Tristan. So.
We were really lucky and fortunate. I've got pictures. Jack brought in some flutes and things like that and played them.
Some of them he made. Yeah.
Yeah, they were beautiful.
Yeah,
absolutely
just
gorgeous.
Collected,
yeah.
And he was really good at playing them. I actually was
Mm-hmm.
thinking about having him, because flutes would be easy to carry backpacking versus a guitar or something. But, yeah, Vicky was really nice and gave me some feathers and through Jack gave me some feathers and some bear fat and
We were going through a really
medicine.
rough time, and that was a lot of encouragement.
Yeah, gave me some warbird feathers because we were going through a really rough time.
And Andrew was struggling with his health too, so that
Through
really
through my health, and then she gave me a name, Yonegi. I'm not gonna say the rest of it because the rest of the name's for me, but it has something to do with being a bear. So It'd be a really good name for a club, I guess. For a gay club.
Oh God, why would you say that?
Because I'm a big bear. No,
Wow.
because that'd be exactly what Jack or Tristan would say. You know it. As much as like that's something I loved about them is that like sacred things also always had an air of sacred things always had an air of like I don't know, they'd make fun of stuff.
Sort of like this whimsical, appreciative laughter. Just
Yeah.
that there is something out there that
Well,
does
they'd
kind
be
of.
inappropriate during sacred moments. It was odd, very different than me growing up, in church and stuff.
Well, different cultures have different things, and yeah.
Well, good breathing people, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Good breathing. All right.
So bad
So
tentacles.
I have wondered.
Well, yes, we have wandered. We went down nostalgia
Yeah.
lane.
So you can go all the way back up to the chat and start
Oh,
firing
man.
off questions.
So bad tentacles has asked. I would like to ask.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to grow room moisture density, what do you like to keep your grow room at? Do you like to make it swing between extremes?
I like to make it swing between extremes. Everyone asks me what I want to keep it at. I don't want to keep my grow room at anything. I want it to replicate nature. And nature is never static. And therefore my grow room is never static.
Yeah, it is definitely. Sometimes I'll go in there to pick, and it'll be just dry as a bone. And then as I'm picking, progressively working my way down, all of a sudden,
Well, especially once you've opened those flaps to the door room, yeah.
Yeah, open the flaps, and then it's got the fresh air coming in, and then, of course, it reads that it's really dry in there, and then it'll just start fogging, and before I know it, I can even see my hand in front of my face. So, with a bright blue glove on, and you just can't even see it, and then, yeah, then I'll come out with curly hair instead of straight. But yeah, it's neat to see the grow room go through different transitions too, and it's neat to see how the mushrooms respond to it as well. If you keep your grow room really humid all the time, you end up with slimier, wetter mushrooms that don't have as long of a shelf life. And I know we've spoken about this before, but having those dry periods is almost just as necessary as having the wetter periods. So everything in moderation.
I think that has a lot to do with why we have such good quality mushrooms, like why the chefs constantly talk about the quality of our mushrooms, because so many people will put theirs at like 90-95% and then just keep it there. And once you put waterlogged mushrooms in a cardboard box, two things are going to happen. Your box is going to get soaked and fall apart, and then your mushrooms are going to start going bacterial because they're soaking wet. And as they breathe that water out in that box, and the box gets soaking wet, you're creating the perfect environment for biofilms like bacteria. So I really think that has a lot to do with why our quality is so good, is because we allow that drying out period. But I think that it also, as the mushroom grows, think of a mushroom growing not as a to B thing, but kind of as it's humid enough and the skin is soft enough, it expands. When it dries out, it creates a small contraction, right, as the skin dries out a little. But the mushroom continues to grow. And then it does it again, over and over and over again. And what that does is I feel like it creates a much better texture in the mushrooms. I mean, our mushrooms have a superior texture, we've been told, over and over and over again. Josiah's does too. Josiah does the same thing, where he swings his humidity the same way we do.
Mm-hmm.
So I really think that plays a part in both the quality of the texture, but in the quality of the shelf life of the mushroom.
Oh yeah, and it brings me back to a moment. I did deliveries one day, and Ollie B. Oh man, I miss that place too.
No longer an active
Yeah.
restaurant. Yeah.
Gosh, what is up with this episode?
What is up with you? Is it the full moon?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. And maybe it's Michael's birthday too. Andrew was telling stories of he and Michael whenever they were little and playing, and then I was looking at him today, and I was like, man, he's turned a certain age, and like at this point, it's kind of, what I remember back in high school, when we first met, just things like that. It's just, yeah, I don't know what's going on with me tonight. But
That
anyway.
Falcor says she gives moisture to the past. He gives moisture to the dead.
But I delivered to Ollie B. I was late. I got caught in traffic. A few other things happened. I ended up taking a few phone calls that took a little more time than I anticipated. So I got there right past noon, and they were already closed. So I called Jeff, and I was like, "Hey, what do I do with these? I hate to just drop them off at the front door and leave them, And he's like, "Well, take them down to Pretentious Beer." And so I did. They put it in their walk-in down there and held on to it for him. And then I came back with the next week's deliveries, and he's like, "Oh, well, where'd that box?" He'd forgotten about the box. So we went back to, where Pretentious was, and he went inside and got the box and brought it out and opened up the box. And I hadn't even seen how well our mushrooms held up yet. Like, I'd never really thought about the other side of it other than the fact that there weren't complaints, and that was making me happy as all get out. So, if there aren't complaints, then my job is done and well done, and I'm
Take it
excited
back,
about
Lexington.
that. Say what?
I said, take it back, Lexington.
Lexington.
He said, you're pregos, lol. Joke.
No. No. That is no more. But yeah, it's it was neat to see just how well, and it was a Hericium box. It was a conifer coral.
Mm-hmm.
It was a mixture of conifer coral and combs tooth. Don't ask me how I remember that. Andrew says I have the memory of an elephant. But yeah, it was really neat to see that. I will say, on another kind of topic, I had delivered also mushrooms to another restaurant, and we did get a complaint that they were sopping wet. And then I went back. We hadn't sold all of our Hericiums. I went back to ours and checked them, and they were not bone dry, but they weren't wet either. They were in good condition. So I brought a replacement case to replace that case, and we weighed it before and then weighed it later, and we kind of came to the conclusion that maybe it was sucking air up from...
Moisture from the air.
Yeah, sucking moisture in from the air from the walk-in. And so they ended up kind of partitioning off a little space and creating a drier spot for it. So that's something to maybe consider, speaking about with your chefs as well. And I think that's a really important topic too. It's almost having your crisper drawer in your refrigerator, right? And just certain things go there and certain things don't.
Oh, for sure. Well, and something else to keep in mind is that a lot of our chefs, if you remember, like way overloaded their walk-ins. And when you overload a walk-in, it puts moisture in the air. So, I mean, it definitely, like I've been in some walk-ins that are like pretty sopping wet, and they're just overloaded with vegetables and everything else, which is great. It's a good sign of abundance, but it is kind of a mold trap if it's not kept cold and dry. So,
yeah.
All right, feed me some more, Seymour.
Feed me more, Seymour. What new projects are we working on?
What projects are we working on?
Yeah.
Oh, naughty, naughty. Oh, someone wants the view of how the sausage is made.
Oh.
Projects. What projects do I talk about? We've got a lot. Okay. New projects. Okay, well, you know what? I'm just going to spitball some, and then people can tell me in the comments what they're interested in. We are beta testing a new liquid culture mixer, so that's pretty cool. We are working pretty heavily on some spalting experiments, so that's pretty slick. So much so that I'm thinking about buying a mill to work with some of these experiments. That one is actually one I'm really excited about, so please make me talk about that one. I mean, don't make me talk about that one.
He'll talk about that one forever.
Well, there's some cool mushroom breeding projects we've got going on where I've got some interesting mixes in the mix, I guess. We have some. What else we got? Project wise. Oh, we have been doing a lot of ready to fruit blocks. So right now we're working on a project of searching for a new autoclave. We think we're going to go the autoclave route instead of the building a bigger pasteurizer. We think we're going to just go autoclave. So that's cool. We've researched some cool stuff. So it'd be cool to talk about that. Um, the and of course, ready fruit blocks. I'm ready to talk about that too because we found a way around refrigeration. So that's pretty neat. So if anybody's interested in getting ready to fruit blocks, I can talk about that as well. But I don't know. We've got a ton of projects like the old forest, the old growth forest. Gourmet mushroom project is underway. So where we banked a bunch of strains from the Albright Grove, those are now being tested. The reishi from the summer is being tested. That one behind Samantha that I showed earlier, I think is either. It's actually that whole rack is from Georgia. It's some Georgia genetics, Georgia wild. Um, my gosh, I mean, we got a bunch of stuff. So that's the kind of projects I'm working on right now, and of course the soil. So this is cool. This is the problem, guys. You make me pick, and I have so many. I love all my babies. Um,
Well, and I can see you struggling with what you think would be relevant to them in a lot of ways,
yeah, it's
and
like,
trying to pare it down so you don't talk about it forever.
well, and so there's a lot of stuff that I'm working on and digging into for sure. That's like not relevant, probably stuff that I'm interested in, like deep biology stuff that is probably not interesting to anyone else. New substrate mixes and like I don't know things like that that are not really economical in any way. Strain training. I'm working on strain training several different strains to different types of substrate, and then hopefully going to have a cool re-release of some of the same strains we've had before, like King Blue, but trained to high acid environments and things like that. Um, I've just got a lot of cool stuff going on, and I just basically I get so bored that I start another project, and while I'm waiting for that one to complete, I start another project, and then I wait for that one to complete, and I just keep going down the line. So, that. So yeah, there's a lot. So if there's something of interest, type it in there. We will try to get to it. But that's the kind of stuff I'm working on. The one that I think probably has the biggest economic bonus, like it's probably going to be the biggest money thing out of all the things I've talked about so far, is the spalting. I think there's going to be, I think the way functional mushrooms are hitting right now, I think we're eventually going to get to a spalting phase where you've got several people producing beautiful pieces of wood for wood turners and woodworkers to work with. It's basically just another layer in the woodworking industry where you get people who take raw wood and treat it to add a depth of beauty to it that can then be put into a woodworker's hands who can add the final touches of beauty and bring out the functionality or display pieces of the wood. That kind of stuff. What?
Oh man!
In fact, we're about to release in our spalting pack. I'm about to release a whole lot of new colors and strains available in liquid culture just for that kind of stuff. So
There's a jewelry maker that goes out and forages all sorts of spalted stuff, especially with the green elf cup on their own land, and they make earrings out of it. And my phone is dead, so it's on the charger, so I don't have it with me. I can't tell you who it is. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I went through and I saw them and I made a few comments and I was like, oh, this is so amazing, So maybe we can reach out to them and see if we can do a collaboration or something, so you guys can kind of see what they do and the art that's made out of all the spalting projects and how beautiful that is beyond just wood turning, which is beautiful in its own right, and it's something I'm very, very appreciative of. But there's other things that are being done, kind of with the inlays and the patterns, and cutting it in such a way that you can, I don't know, it's almost like this puzzle art that's just gorgeous, and I really, really love it. Are you looking them up now or trying to find who I
No,
sent
I
you?
was looking up what TLDR means.
Oh, gotcha. I
Too
sent.
too long didn't read.
Oh, okay. But I sent it to Andrew the other day, so maybe I thought maybe he was looking
No,
it
I
up.
was looking some stuff up. I didn't actually hear what you were saying. I was using that as a chance to take my focus for a second.
Ah, gotcha. Well, what are you doing now?
Reading the chat. What do you want me to? What did you ask me a question?
No.
Okay. Okay. Another project I'm working on is ectomycorrhizal fungi and growing sterile plants out, and then basically pairing the root system up with the microbiomes that I want, and seeing how that goes. So there's that too.
Also, Michael got me a really, really super cool little toy plaything for Christmas, and it's a hex Pantone color identifier scanner thing. You basically it's on a keychain or a lanyard. You can choose whichever one you want, and you lay it on a color essentially, and it'll tell you the Pantone or hex code for it. You could choose either one. And so I've been going around all over the place and getting colors.
Of the mushrooms?
Yeah, I've been laying it on the mushroom.
We can get a palette of colors
Yeah.
from the mushrooms. Oh my gosh, that's
Which
going to be so
you
cool
can take
on the
a
website.
photo and you can just use the color dropper to basically steal the color off of it anyway. But this is kind of neat because it actually, I mean, it gives you the code even when you use the dropper to get the color off the photo. But I don't know, I just feel like it's really neat because it will actually pair it with a paint color made by Benjamin Moore or any other popular paint company. And so you can go get the color and paint your wall with it. Which I thought was really neat.
Really cool.
It gives it. You can take it
I want
to.
racy red.
You can also take that color to that place, and it will give it. It'll give the paint mixer, the specific recipe to make that specific color code, which
So
is
they
really
need
neat
to mix it to customize it. They can do so.
Yeah, you just
Cool.
take them the little thing, and it'll tell them exactly how to mix it.
Very cool.
Or it'll tell their computer how to mix it.
Yeah.
Which is neat.
Excellent. Well, hit me with some more stuff, and then I guess we'll get down there to what people are interested in.
Since there are functional mushrooms, what type of dysfunctional mushrooms are there? The ones that will murder you, maybe?
Yeah, the angel wings,
Ugh, yeah,
the reaper,
the Reaper.
the I can't remember was it called, the heavenly angel, or I can't remember. But
Aww. And Carl said, first live with you guys. An honor to be here. Thanks for being so legit and down to earth. So basically, hello from Mexico and starting trials to grow for the first time with your guide.
excellent. Well, hola.
Joe said that he does woodworking and have watched our videos on spalting wood. I would also love to kind of get feedback from more artisans as to kind of what they're looking for and
Yeah.
how far do you let it go?
Well, I mean, yeah, it depends. So what's interesting is some funguses you have to learn to time because they'll start off like, let's say it'll stain a yellow, but as you let it go on, it'll turn to a red. So at 6 weeks it's yellow, at 8 weeks it's red, at 10 weeks it's purple. So there's a lot of timing with it that goes along with it. And if you want to do anything multi-hued, then there's a layering aspect as well, because you'll have to work with your bleaching fungi, and then add colors as they go. But of course, you have to use your darkest color last and where you want it, that kind of thing. So
It kind of reminds me a little bit of an art project that we did back in high school where you took tempera paint and you did 2 layers, choosing 2 separate colors that are highly contrasting, whether they're complementary or whatever. And then you would create lines in between, pour ink over the whole thing, and that ink would eat away at the tempera paint. And then you would wash it off with a water hose, and it would leave behind, if you left the ink for a really, really long time, you would basically end up with all the colors on your first layer because it would eat all the second layer. So that is a very fascinating thing to me.
oh, absolutely.
Let's see, scrolling back over here because mine jumped. Whimsical Spores said, hi, Andrew and Sam. First, just want to say how amazing you guys are. Oh, thank you. My question is, what is your recommendations on weight to give to a chef as a free box? 3 pounds, 5 pounds?
Full 10-pound case.
We did full cases. The chefs were pretty wild, very appreciative.
Well, and I can tell you why I think it is a good reason.
Yeah.
Is if you give them a pound, they got enough to cook up for themselves and decide if they like it. If you give them 10 pounds, then they go, what am I going to do with all these mushrooms? And then they'll go, you know what I'll do? I'll run a special. Because it's free money. That's free money. Just for the week, free money, a little extra money in my pocket. They'll use it. People will go, wow, this mushroom dish was really cool and unique and exciting. And he'll go, I need to order more mushrooms. And there you go. Now you got him hooked.
And that needs to be a children's book. If you give a chef a mushroom.
If you give a chef 10 pounds of mushrooms.
All right. There you go. So you've already hit that one.
Yeah, push it. Hey, while she's looking, guys,
Jumped again.
like it, share, please, comment, and subscribe. Like it. But all right. Well, do I need to run an ad while you're looking?
No.
I can.
So Fatty Acids asks, can you tell us more about the GAP certified facility process? I get it's good agricultural process. It's practices. But how did you go about getting it? Is there anything else you had to do? Thank you.
We don't have it. We didn't get it, and we didn't need it. You only need it when you're making about, at least in the state of Tennessee. I assume I think it's federal.
Now this has been a while since we've read.
It has.
Read the laws.
But when we were growing the most mushrooms we were growing, which we're not at peak anymore. We grow mushrooms and we dry them, but we're not growing 1,000 pounds a week anymore like we were.
Yeah, it's just to test the lot numbers. We're no longer delivering to restaurants.
Well, testing lot numbers and testing strains, and then we grow Hericium, reishi, turkey tail, things like that out. But we have to do it in a certain process. So we're not producing 1,000 pounds a week anymore to get the same value. But it used to be you had to sell $500,000 of mushrooms, fresh mushrooms per year, in order to. Whoa, I'm getting some glitch.
Yeah, I saw that.
But $500,000 a year off fresh mushrooms alone. That doesn't count liquid cultures or teaching or anything like that. So, and I think the closest we ever came was $250,000, $300,000 off fresh mushrooms per year. No?
No.
What was the closest we came?
I'd have to go back and look at the financials, but I don't think it was that far.
Okay. Well, whatever we were at, I don't remember. We never got to, really even, we got to maybe half that. So in my memory, we were at half of that. Samantha's memory, we were not. So we'll see who was right later, I guess. But the fact is that we just never got there. And we didn't need to. And honestly, I think a lot of small companies, you could, if you sell $450,000 worth of fresh mushrooms a year and you've got an 80% profit, you can make a really tidy income as a mom and pop shop, as a small business, and not have to ever meet GAP certification.
And it is.
Oh, your camera's. Go ahead, keep talking.
It is it's an expense, kind of like an organic certification. And we went to a meeting with Cisco, and I talked and spoke extensively to a lot of people concerning it. And it's not required in our state. I don't think it's required in any state unless you want to sell. If you have a packaging facility and you're selling to groceries, grocery stores. Boy, it's really just
you're
flipping
going
out.
Just look at me while you're talking to her, and I'll wiggle the camera some. Keep talking.
But yeah, it's it was something that we weren't required to get for what we were doing. What I would do is I would call your state agricultural extension agency. They're going to know a lot more about it than we are. And I really don't want to speak on the behalf of any specific state. I don't feel well qualified in that regard. So that's something that I would do, is just kind of reach out. And I've noticed now that Tennessee has this, and I've even gone through and I have printed off the checklist, and I've gone through our entire facility to see just how close we are to get it if we wanted to get it, and we're pretty darn close. So it's go print that audit sheet off and then start checking through your own facility. And it's really kind of common sense stuff, like keeping all your chemicals in one location, putting it in a locked cabinet to where it can't just be taken and poured somewhere where it shouldn't be. What? What are you giggling about?
Cousin Clive said hitting the like button is proven to reduce contamination. Guaranteed.
And then something else was, having just signs up, wash your hands. Of course, we wash our hands before we go in the lab anyway, or before we handle anything anyway. You have to have it like in Spanish and English, I think, and yeah, stuff like that. Wearing gloves, of course, while you're picking. You're not dropping a mushroom on the floor and then sticking it in the box. Don't do that. It's just it's a lot of common sense stuff. Yeah. I will say that probably the most expensive aspect of it is making sure that you have backflow valves. Yeah, one-way GSI plugins. Mm-hmm. You just have to be smart. GFCI.
Ground fault or GFI.
I always get confused with it.
Current interrupter, or no, ground fault interrupted. I can't remember now that you've said
it. It's just a bunch of stuff like that. And like not spraying bleach directly on your mushrooms. Just stuff like that. It's really, again, common sense.
Technically, you're allowed to spray bleach on your mushrooms.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Ew.
I mean, I know of growers who do it. Some of them are kind of YouTube famous, but you're allowed to do it up to don't quote me on this, but a 5% solution, because you're allowed to wash vegetables in bleach water. So that's considered a vegetable wash. The reason why they're doing it, or we're doing it, I mean, I've got videos of them doing it saved, but they're literally doing it to hide the bacterial stains on the mushrooms and to beat back blotch. The problem is not the bleach so much as the problem is the bacteria that you can't see. That's what bothers me, is that there's a bacterial stain. They're bleaching it. Now that bacterial stain goes away. It's just bleached, but that stain is still there. The microbial metabolites, the stuff that it can be toxic, is still there. And they're just hiding it that way.
So Andrew and I had a large discussion on disgust factors, and that's a lot of disgust factoring for me.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well. Okay. I didn't mean to go down that rabbit hole.
Anyways, hit me with some more questions, and I'll tell you what. Let's hit a sponsorship real quick. We're already about an hour in, and we've just been going. So, sponsorship real quick, guys. Thank you. All right, and thank you guys for the T-shirts that you guys have been buying. The Mycomancer and the Bioprospector shirts have been more popular than I expected. Samantha, Jake Howard wants a long sleeve Inoki shirt. Man, he's dying for it. He wants to give you money. Please let him give you money.
Oh, and for anyone who has ordered shirts and you're waiting on them, I ended up with an email and then also a like a board. Don't break it.
Keep going. Keep talking. Keep
Don't
talking. Email.
It. They gave me a few notifications.
Oh shit! I broke it.
Did you really?
I did.
Andrew.
I literally can't switch.
Why?
No. Keep talking. Keep talking.
Okay, well, I guess
They'll be able to hear us.
I guess you're just gonna sound like me for the rest of the night, huh? What did you unplug?
Just keep talking.
Okay. Well, anyway, they told me that they were low on two XL sizes on some of the shirts that I had chosen. So I've gone back through and I've chosen some other shirts that I like, so that are soft. I go after the really soft ones. Those are my favorite. So hopefully they won't be out of stock or whatnot. Or really the concern was that they would be delayed for you guys. So one fellow, bless his heart, has been waiting like 3 to 4 weeks for his shirt. So those are on their way, and I've now chosen new ones. So those should be nice and quick and speedy.
I'm gonna try something real quick.
No.
Oh, it didn't work.
Now it's frozen.
It is.
What did you do?
The snow is gone, but you were frozen.
Also, wow, I now that it's frozen, I noticed that I'm speaking with my hands, and it's definitely on screen. So I'm like,
all right, guys, hold on. I'm gonna try to kajigger it loose real quick.
Kajigger it. It wouldn't be a Mossy Creek episode without some sort of technical
You told me not to
difficulty.
break it, and I broke it.
So now it's just a radio show, right?
It's just a radio show. It's a
no
radio
video.
talk show with me making a face. Let's see.
Well, at least you get to hear Andrew get frustrated. That's always fun.
What happens if I click this button? Nothing.
Oh no,
Okay.
you're gonna click all the buttons, aren't you?
It's gonna look. I don't know. Start answering some questions while I figure this out.
Oh gosh. Let's see. What are your ready fruit blocks, and how does it work around refrigeration? Oh, you opened a can of worms with that one, Andrew.
Which one?
You said that we'd figured out a way around refrigeration.
I didn't say I would tell you my secrets. I just said, if you want to talk ready to fruit blocks, I'm happy to sell you some.
And Steve was like, yes, talk about all of them. Oh,
I was like,
gosh.
which one do you want to talk about? Yes. All right.
ADHD again. I need to meet in person with you.
All right, guys, we're going to try something else here. Removed. Okay, I think people can still hear us. Who put the mushroom guy in charge of IT? You all did. If you buy more things, I can afford somebody to do IT. Okay. Oh, we're back. I got it fixed.
What'd you do?
I turned it off and turned it back on again.
Hey, that's the
Who put the
IT golden
mushroom?
rule.
I was gonna say, who put the mushroom guy in charge of IT? Except that your camera is still flickering like an SOB.
Oh, well, it's all right. I broke it. Did you do it again?
It might be on the camera side. No, keep talking while it's still flashing.
Still flashing, everybody? Great.
Yeah, flash them, Samantha.
No! Nope, still not fixed.
Yeah, it is.
Hooray! You fixed that too. Good job.
Briefly.
Briefly.
This freaking cable. I think we have a short in the cable.
Well, we'll have to order a new cable and then go.
Anyways,
Go with
Dan,
it.
why don't you answer some questions instead
There
of
are no
slow-
more questions.
What do you mean there are no more questions?
There are no more questions.
That's BS.
No,
Hey!
I would
Whatever
not
you stop.
lie to
Don't
you.
touch anything else. You fixed it. You're no
Oh.
longer flashing the crowd.
I won't move.
Hey guys,
Yeti said I'm local and work IT. He'll be over in 5 minutes.
come on, Yeti, let's do this. Come work out. Hey, Yeti, you want a position on the show? You can be our Jamie. All right. Okay, fixed. All right. So wait, what am I supposed to talk about now?
Okay, so Havoc?
Wait, you didn't ask me this. What's your thought on mushroom grow bag caps? I don't see many farms using the reusable filter caps. You didn't ask me that. What do you mean there are no more
You
questions?
just asked yourself. There you go, sir.
You want something done right. Do it yourself.
Oh. I
Oh.
glitched too, I guess. I guess it jumped past and I didn't see it. So, there you go. There's
If
a
you pick a
question.
mushroom from one of your cultured bags that is ripe, will it stun other mushrooms on the same bag that are not ready, not yet ready? Not normally. Normally that works still just fine. As far as the mushroom filter caps go, I haven't really experimented with them, but I have wanted to because those poly bags are so much cheaper than the unicorn bags. And if I can get away from unicorn bags and get to the poly bags, it's pretty cheap. That's a pretty good way to go. They're like 10 cents instead of like 40 or 50 cents each. That's a pretty significant saving per bag. I mean, if you're doing, right now we're doing 360 bags a week. And on the pasteurizer.
Yeah.
And if we could save like a good 40 or 50 cents per bag, it's pretty good savings.
Yeah, I'm getting buff.
Ground fault circuit interrupter, GFCI. Thank you. I knew someone would come to my rescue. What is the rarest mushroom you wish you could have in your grow room? That is, well, I was going to say I don't have an answer for that, but I actually do have an answer for that. I really want to grow the umbrella polypore. I found one like the first year I started growing mushrooms and thought, oh, that's super cool. And then found out later on that the umbrella polypore is super freaking rare. And people will hunt mushrooms their entire lives before they find one. And I found one my first year. And I'm likely to never see another one again. But I wish I'd taken it and cultured it. They grow it in China. It takes 2 years. You grow it. They grow it in these bags, and then it produces these giant sclerotia. And then the sclerotia you take and you bury outside the next year. And the mushroom fruits from that sclerotia. Whew. I'm telling you guys, full and sleepy. But yeah, that's probably one of the rarest mushrooms I would love to grow is the umbrella polypore. It sounds delicious too. So
Any furtherance? I love that word, by the way. Any furtherance on the LC2 pellets?
Not. I mean, there won't like. I get this question probably every live stream. So I'm never sure if it's the same person asking multiple times, like, is there anything new? Is there anything new? Or if it's multiple people asking. There's not really any furtherance on it right now. I'm not working on it right now. It's not a project that I've been really pushing. Where we're no longer pushing large volumes of bags, except to our block clients, whatnot. We're just not really. We're just not really needing it, so it's been kind of it's something that I'm glad that I put out there because I know there are other people working on it, but it's pretty much the same as what it has been. Most things will go to straw and other easy to eat substrates from liquid culture to bulk, but if you're wanting to go from liquid culture to bulk sawdust and things like that, you got to use something like a gnocchi, hericium, something like that. So. And you got to use a lot of it. Otherwise, you're going to be waiting a long time. So 100 milliliters or more per bag will get you probably about a 6-week wait time.
Xavier B asked earlier, and I actually had it in my head to ask it, but he asked what was your latest bioprospecting in 2023, and then he asked again, did you bioprospect Hericium in December? So...
Well, let's see.
We went to Albright Grove right around
October.
Yeah. And
we
that
got
was
Hericium from there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went to Georgia before that. Or after.
I think it was all within the same month. And then we ended up with Reishi and some
Georgia was
from
September
there as
29th to October 1st.
well. Okay.
So, yeah. So we got Georgia, we did the Albright Grove, and then we did Oklahoma. And then right about the time I was from Oklahoma, New York sent us a Hericium. So I'd say that's probably the last Hericium I collected for the year.
Yeah, so here it's been unusually cold for us. I mean, we just had like 8 to 10 inches of snow. They actually shut down a lot of the passes. It's kind of, it was there for a little bit, sort of impossible to get into any of the forested areas or whatnot. And so we've not really done anything since, October, November. And then December, of course, we spent a lot of time with family, a lot of time fulfilling orders. You guys went nuts in December, so there was that. And then everything that we have been kind of playing with here recently has been through the good graces and kindnesses of total strangers, which is really neat. And they've continued to message us, so strangers are no longer becoming strangers, which is awesome. But we've just been plating those and cleaning them up, and Andrew's been putting in a lot of work on that. So that's kind of where we're at on all of that.
Slants, and slants, and more
Yeah.
slants, and more slants.
And I don't know if you guys realize just how many samples we have and have collected over the years that we don't sell. We just have them.
Yeah, I'm actually in a kind of a predicament right now. So if anybody knows what's happened to legacy mushrooms, I bought a strain from them a while back called the Rifle Creek oyster. And of course, I bought it because it was a beautiful oyster and I wanted to put it in the breeding program, which it is. And its first children are happily growing right now. But when I went to go back to Legacy Mushrooms, it looks like their website is down, their Facebook is inactive, and I'm wondering if they're just no longer around. I tried contacting them and couldn't find a way to contact them. So if anybody knows what's happened to Legacy, let me know.
But we grew it out, and it was beautiful, and we were like, hey, we really need to let them know how pretty this is.
Yeah, well, it's one of the most gorgeous brown oysters I've ever seen. And it grows in the cold, unlike most pulmonarias. It's a tree oyster, but it's got kind of that chocolatey brown that a lot of the pulmonarias strains have, the phoenix oysters. I really want this mushroom on the market. It deserves to be in more growers' hands. But I don't, out of an ethical standpoint, sell strains that other people can buy from other places. Other strains that other people have put the work into bioprospecting or breeding. I don't mind bringing it into the breeding program and then selling children from that. But I don't know what to do here. Should I sell the strain? Or do I mean, if I can't contact the guy, I'm not really quite sure what to do. But I would feel really bad if I was selling it and not pushing people towards him. So I don't really know. I don't know from an ethical standpoint. I haven't figured out if this is okay for me to sell or not, just to get it out in the market.
So if you see this,
Legacy,
email us. Let us know what to do.
Please do.
And I told Andrew, I was like, well, maybe, maybe just kind of put it in sort of a stasis right now, or credit where credit is due, as we have always. That's been one of our major ethical things that we've chosen. Any time we say something or it's suggested, we want to make sure that we credit whoever we found out from, or even if it goes farther behind that and we don't know, let us know, and we'll absolutely go back and credit where credit is due.
Yep.
So, and then from my background, the whole art world, you credit the artist. So, and Savior B said that his last was on Christmas Day. So.
Of this year?
Last year, because that was Christmas.
Right. Right. I know. I don't mean that he went into the future. So
yeah. Savior B sent us a really awesome strain that
two strains.
2 strains.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the second one.
Yeah, it's SYB1, SYB2 are both his strains.
Gotcha. And
which he has actually, I think, told us that we could sell, but I've not grown them out and taken photos and then sold them or anything yet. So.
Well.
But.
And
he's in here, so he can tell me whether I'm wrong or not about selling it. But.
And he said where.
And he did say Berserker is mushroom lore, and you know that, and that's true. I do know that. I know a lot more mushroom lore than I was letting on earlier. But you're absolutely right. Berserkers apparently have a lot of mushroom lore to it. I'm reading The Sacred Mushroom and the Cross right now by Allegro, which is very, very interesting about early Christianity and mushrooms. So.
That's very interesting.
Yeah,
I wonder if we should do a book club or something like that. That'd be kind of neat.
He was one of the original Dead Sea Scrolls scholars. And
wow.
definitely took a different juke with it than a bunch of other people did. So um, you could say not everyone was happy with his interpretations, but there does seem to be some. He does have stuff backing it up, which is pretty.
Cousin Clive said, "Looks like they didn't pay the electric bill."
Yeah,
We did, and we just got our new one, which was $1,000. So
was it 1,000 and
it was
what?
$1,002.38.
That's all.
It's a lot to me.
It's a lot to Samantha, but I've been paying the electric bill over this place and it used to be like 1,500 to 2,000. What's funny is the company next door apparently had some of their electric went over to our side, and then some of our electric went to their side, and they were like, their lease is the electric's covered by the landlord. My lease, I pay my own, so my landlord's never cared how much I use. Apparently, theirs over there spiked really hard. And the landlord was like, "You guys have to pay me the extra because I wasn't expecting it to be this much. I'm losing money here." They blamed us. They tracked down the electrical. We're like, "Well, it's those guys over there. Their HVAC system and whatnot is on our electric." And I was like, so the electrician came in and he separated everything. And my bill went from like $1,800 a month to
Ours
like
went lower.
$1,200 a month, and theirs went up. And I was like, "Yes."
No, don't. I think it's best to be honest about it.
Yeah, like just let it. Yeah.
Oh.
Anyways, what's my thoughts on pine and corn pellets for pleurotus? I think it's great. Pine pellets have worked pretty well for oysters for us. There were a couple of strains where we had kind of a like, do you guys taste pine in it? Like Mother of Pearl. Mother of Pearl kind of picked up like a piney taste off pine pellets. And then as far as
Mother of Pine.
when you say corn pellets, corn cob pellets work really well. Corn cob grows oysters really, really well from what I hear. So that's really good.
Oh, and Savior B said, "Yes, sir," and "Yes, you can." Maybe what we can do is, if we sell it, we put back like 50%. Right, and then we put it back towards Savior B to get to save his bee colonies, or like help feed them extra well in here. Or
I don't really know how to figure out how to do the commission part of that, or like a licensing fee. But if we could figure that out, maybe.
Well, and then Eric said too, the mushrooms that you have that you're not selling, would you be able to offer them as a grab bag kit of 5 or 10 that people might enjoy?
That is a very interesting idea.
Now we couldn't do it for free because there is the at cost of the agar and the plates and the shipping and all of that stuff. But I mean, that is a kind of interesting thing. What are you doing?
It's doing it again.
You're wiggling stuff.
Because you're flashing the crowd again.
Wiggle, wiggle.
If you'd stop flashing them.
Jiggle, jiggle.
Stop it! You're making it worse.
Am I?
Samantha's not going to be joining us for this show. At least not her. Her visage will not be with us.
Visage or visage?
Visage, visage. It's not spelled. It's not spelled like a corsage.
I like playing with words, as you can tell.
Dang, every time I get that wiggled right to the right spot, it stops. Okay, whatever. It's gonna stay on me for a minute. We'll figure it out.
Oh yeah, Dr. Jordan said he sent us 2 Americans from New York.
Americanums.
I was going to say that after.
Okay.
That was the punchline.
Oh, I was trying to think of what.
You did very well, thank you. That was perfect.
Seriously. One of the Albright Grove Hericiums came back as a Coralloides. So there is that, which would be comb tooth.
Yeah, and we are sending these off to be DNA tested. So part of the Mycologium is...
Yeah, it's DNA testing. It's a very slow process.
It is very slow.
So getting results back is worth it.
And fun because we get that back and it's like, oh, what is it? What is it? You want to take bets? And we're all guessing, and then we actually finally get to see. Ooh, we should do that. We should take publish the pictures with permission, of course, that were sent to us. Beat it.
I'm gonna break the camera
things again. But share those photos and have everyone kind of guess, and then maybe do some giveaways or something with that. But yeah, that would be kind of cool and fun. You're gonna go over there, give a good talking to the camera to you.
You work.
No,
Do your job.
do your job.
There you go. You just gotta.
Someone asked.
Oh my gosh! I literally just sat down and it starts flashing again.
I don't know what to tell you.
Someone asked what?
Can you add pine to your next batch of mead? Maybe juniper berries?
I've been wanting to make a juniper mead for a long time. I probably could do pine. I've been wanting to do a pine mead as well. I love St. Teresa's Pale Ale from Highland Brewery. Oh, everyone says it tastes really like pine, and I agree, it does taste like pine. And everyone says that like it's a bad thing, but I think it's a delicious thing. So
Andrew's favorite soap is the pine tar soap too. So
I
he
like
has a
some.
natural affinity for pine.
I do. Pine's good wood.
Oh, so what's the best magnetic stir plate to use?
Probably a nice expensive one that I refuse to buy.
we
We've gone through like 40 of the Intella Labs. They don't hold up. And then I bought this little small one,
It
cheap
lasted
Chinese
like-
one. It lasted a day.
more like 30 minutes.
Yeah, maybe 30 minutes. And then the one I bought most recently, I can't remember the brand name. It's like $100 a plate. So I had some spalted burls made earrings out of my wife quilts, and I make pin cushion bowls out of spalted wood. I also make meteorite jewelry. That's Joe Campbell. That's some pretty cool shit.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I'd love the spalted
Meteorite
earring sounds cool to
jewelry.
me. But check Know Your Land on Angel Wings. He tells a different story. That's from Savior B. Okay, I love Know Your Land. I haven't seen an episode on Angel Wings, but that sounds great. I'll absolutely watch that. I know there's some controversy about whether or not they're toxic.
Well,
So-
isn't it that some people are just allergic to them, kind of thing?
I don't know. No, I
Or
think
that they're-
it's a little different than that. I think there's a sensitivity
Because
to it.
I remember Ben talking about it, and then I remember him saying that he went down and he was reading about it and reading a few different articles and stuff, and that was kind of something that had popped up. We just stay away from it in general.
Yeah, I mean, I don't tend to risk stuff. I got plenty to work with, so I just don't ever attempt it. But have you ever been involved in any micro-remediation projects? I'll be working with a township who received federal funding to explore micro-remediation to clean up several sites in their territory.
That's cool.
That's super
Congratulations.
cool. Yeah, that's super cool. I have not been involved with it, but I have talked to and consulted on some things that, I have a little bit of knowledge based on it, but not a lot. As far as like government funding for it, there's going to be certain things they allow you to do and not do that we'd have to see what they've got going on. But oysters tend to be. It really depends on what you're trying to clean up as well. And I actually think strain training, like I was talking about earlier, can have a lot of benefit for that, because you can force in a laboratory setting your strains to eat this compound, and then it would be cool to test it for it afterwards, and then just continually train towards it. Within a few weeks, you could have some strains trained that would then go to bulk remediation projects. So that's something I would be thinking of.
Jordan said make your own stir plates. Ben made a stir plate for us a very, very, very long time ago.
Yeah, the ones that Ben has made for us out of computer fans have probably lasted the longest. In fact,
Yeah.
I saw it over there. I was like, I think it would take is some hot glue to repair it, because it threw the magnet is all.
Looking to grow some lion's mane and turkey tail. Do you have turkey tail?
I do. We do have it.
We have several kinds of turkey
I
tail.
think the only time we always sell turkey tails in the medicinal bulk pack. We probably should get it listed, but we've got more than one turkey tail type, yeah, for sure.
We've got a Panther Creek turkey tail. I think we have one from the Albright Grove. I think we've got another one that we found in Georgia, I believe. Right? Did it do it again?
It froze again.
Frozen. Should do a movie at this point.
Boo 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 doo boo.
The Frozen Adventures of Mossy
Bringing
Creek
myself
Mushrooms.
back to you. There we go. Bippity boppity boo. Samantha will flash you.
Eric said, "Oh, fine, Sam. I'll start working on them." Thank you, Eric.
Someone said that didn't sound right. What didn't sound right?
I wonder.
Okay, my chat jumped. So what do you got for me?
I saw a YouTube video for an old black spruce and maple syrup beer I've been wanting to try. Sounds yummy.
That sounds really good. I don't know if you guys follow my Instagram or our Instagram or whatnot, but I posted yesterday about an Enoki wine I'm making right now. It's literally just a sugar wash wine, with basically the only flavor I put in it was just Enoki mushrooms, because I'm wanting to see, once you've fermented these and bring them down, like what's the base taste, and then I can start trying to season my next gallon batch from it, right? So right now I'm drying every bit of Enoki I can dry in preparation to do a 5-gallon batch of Enoki wine for the October Mossback Mushroom Syndicate get together. Be cool to have about 20-25 bottles of a mushroom wine. I might do more through the summer. I might do a reishi, and I've always done that Forest Dwellers mead for cooking, which is a heavy onion and garlic and mushroom mead.
Yeah, that's something that
Not for drinking.
Andrew's traditionally made, and we've gifted out for Christmas to all the chefs, and so it's been fun.
Yep, it's a deglazing mead. So,
and then I'd like to make some golden gnocchi bread with dehydrated.
With dehydrated,
Yeah,
powder it and.
Since they smell so much like freeze-dried bananas, my goal would be like banana bread, but mushroom bread.
It is. I swear, this thing is. I'm gonna.
Hey, Yeti said he thinks that he found Legacy Mushrooms contact information. So.
Oh, that's cool. That would be really cool if it's an actual contact to them. Like I said, I don't know if they're if it's business contact. I wonder if they're around.
And then John said North Carolina had huge grants for anyone who wanted to grow truffles, but I was too late. Oh, dang. That is the worst feeling. Yeah. They only funded 10 farmers. Yeah.
If you guys check out Facebook, go to Facebook, go to Mushroom Growing. I know that group is so full and talkative that it's about useless now. It's so hard to get good conversations built on it, I feel like. Just because there's 400,000 people in it. I mean, it's hard to get a good thread going. But if you go in there and you use the search function, there's all kinds of good stuff. Jasmine Richardson was doing a bunch of work with truffles, and she's got some. I think she published a lot of it in that group. So check that out.
My Micah says, so do you have turkey tail tinctures already made for sale too? Is that what I heard?
I don't have them already made. No, I'm growing out a bunch of crops right now, so any tinctures we make, we won't. Those won't be available just yet. We're also still debating the idea of making the tinctures ourselves and selling them under our name, or just selling to the market. But I mean, from what we've kind of heard, there seems to be some interest in us making tinctures and selling those. So we might just do that.
Uh-oh.
When you harvest your first flush, do you then tape the opening closed and create a new one? No. And how big and what shape should your bag opening be? So, Thomas, as far as I look at it, if it's Hericium, about this long, single slit. And then if it's oysters, we do a U shape, also about that width. And no, my answer if your question is, hey, do you do something or not do something? My answer is almost always I don't do the something. So, no, I don't tape them closed and flip the bag around and do all that stuff. It just I don't even understand why people do. Like we just pull it and then let it grow again and then pull it again. It just. Have you ever seen that thing? What's that meme? Or not meme? It was from that British comedy show where he's like, "Hey, you want to make some money? Try farming. This, this was corn. It grows out of the fucking ground. You plant it, it grows. You grab it, and you sell it. Cash. You know, that's kind of what I feel about oysters. Like, you pack the bags, you cut the opening, and then it's just cash. It just comes right out of the wall. I mean, like you don't like the whole point is to do as little work as possible, guys. Not as much as we can.
That said, I think it's reasonable to acknowledge that mushroom farming is a good bit of dedication and work for sure.
For sure. Unplug the cable from that camera.
Oh yeah?
From the one to your left. Yep.
This one?
The camera, yep, the cable that's off the side there. Yep.
Okay.
All right. Now.
Too many mind?
You were concentrating too hard on too many things. What do you mean?
No, I just meant like too many cords. It has too many.
No. Oh, no. This is we're switching cables. That now needs to go under the table.
Oh. Okay. Musical cords instead of musical chairs.
All right.
Run it your way.
Got it.
Got it? Awesome.
No, not really, but...
Teamwork makes the dream work.
All right, now talk to the people.
Hello. More questions. So really, this is our attempt to be pretty steady with you guys, making sure that we're available weekly for any questions, and just to engage and give you guys an opportunity to engage back too. Andrew and I are oftentimes kind of off either mentoring or fulfilling orders or doing our due diligence on quality assurance checks and everything else. So we just want to make sure that we're still available. Did you fix it?
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Mycology said, I
Thank you.
swear that book is in my Amazon cart right now. What book did I talk about? Or did you talk about a book?
No, you talked about a book, and it was a book on...
Helpful.
Helpful. If you hadn't asked me, I would know. That's the way it
Tell
always
me
works.
the height spacing between your shelves, building up my first official grown. So it's literally a couple inches taller than the bag is once the plastic's deflated. I don't remember what that is. I mean, it's been years since we built a shelf. Now, even here, I mean, we built it in 2020.
Well, like, I don't know,
10 inches.
10 inches?
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say exactly, too.
I
So
think it's probably
we've-
it's just enough that you can put the bag in and turn the bag
Sacred
sideways.
Mushroom in the Cross. Thank you, Mycology.
What did I say?
That was the book.
Oh, Sacred Mushroom in the Cross.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Any tips for a small grower trying to do Hericium mushrooms on pasteurized substrate?
Keva? Okay.
Any tips for a small grower trying to do Hericium mushrooms on pasteurized substrate?
Tips for Hericium. Keep your room clean, and you can slow down your airflow compared to oysters. So you can take the time to treat your air. Make sure that your fog is not directly hitting your mushrooms, or water droplets or anything like that, because you'll bruise them. And make sure to your lighting doesn't have to be quite as intense either. So those maybe. You look confused. What's confusing?
So Pond Girl has asked, while my spawn is in incubation, should I fold the bag over until the mycelium starts? And I'm trying to think of what that actually means.
Okay.
Is that like fold it over and clasp the air out of it? Or clarify for me. I'm overthinking it, overanalyzing again, which I tend to do. So save me from myself.
Right? Absolutely. The man, the black spruce and maple syrup beer does sound really good. I'm super excited about that. But almost 50 of us watching and only 15 likes. Show Mossy Creek Mushrooms some love and smash that like button. Well, guys, here's some help.
Did you like it?
That is not like. Bam, there we go. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. I haven't liked it yet. I need to like it. No, I did like it. There we go. And look, I'm going to make some hearts appear. Bam. Bam, look at that. Heart.
Does it count if you do it yourself?
Well, hopefully.
I mean, I guess it literally counts.
Hopefully my hearts will get other people. Well, it's a different account, so. Oops, wrong
goodness.
one.
What's wrong?
So, did you see that? Dang it. There we go. See, there's some other loves happening. I told you it'd work.
Uh-huh.
All they needed was permission to love us.
So, Andrew, were you the one talking about reading the book 1984?
I have not read the book 1984. I want to read the book 1984. It's on my list. But it's probably buried under about 15 other books right now.
Sorry, keep the air out until the mycelium starts. So, while the spawn is in incubation, should I keep the air out until the mycelium starts?
Do you have an answer?
No? Do you have an answer?
What's the question? I didn't hear a clean question.
While my spawn is in incubation,
Uh-huh.
the first one was, should I fold the bag over until the mycelium starts? And then she said, sorry, keep the air out until the mycelium starts.
No, so I'm not sure what you mean by keep the air out, but your incubation should have fresh air going through it. It doesn't need as much fresh air as a grow room. As far as you should have air in your bags should be inflated from the laboratory with clean air, because a bag that is full is less likely to allow air back in, thereby drawing mold spores through any holes in your filter.
In fact, we keep all of our spawn in the lab on shelves. It never goes out of the lab until it's either shipped out of the lab or it's inoculated, pasteurized blocks, and then those inoculated blocks are going into incubation. So our all of our stuff stays in the 2 labs that we have, and then we have all the filters and all the air running through pretty much 24/7, and then those bags are on the shelves and they continue to grow. We don't do anything really special to them other than putting the filtered air inside of them when we inoculate them and seal them. And
yeah, and when they go on the shelf, like if you look at Samantha's above Samantha's shoulder there, the bags are kind of leaned over. They're leaning over with the filter patch facing down, and what that is filters always fail, right? That's my saying. Filters always fail, and so if you were to lean the bag over with the filter patch facing straight up and mold spores fall down with gravity, there's a higher likelihood that it's small chance, but there's a higher likelihood that mold spore can go through a filter patch. And if you look at these filter patches through a microscope, they are not uniformly made. They're well made for the most part, but you'll see going through that, it's really a matter of chance. Like, it reduces your chances of getting contamination, doesn't eliminate it. So we lean the bags like what Samantha's got there over her shoulder so that the filter patch is facing down, so if mold spores fall down, they're unlikely to fall down, fall up, then go through a filter patch hole and then back down to the bag. So.
And then later is bag is sealed, fold over the patch. We have so much air in our bags that the patch is just, there's no folding anything over.
Yeah, I mean, you can see like the ones on the top rack there are fully inflated. So.
In fact, it's kind of a common, whoever is shaking, it's a common obstacle to get it onto the shelf sometimes.
Oh yeah.
So There's that. I've definitely kind of scaled it back on putting as much air in the bags as I used to. It's as Laura used to say, Project Fluffy Bag. That's something that was
Project
always really,
Fluffy Bag.
yeah, I always really liked it when she said that.
Can you use mead in a tincture, or would it be bitter nasty? You could use it, but you have to use a higher grade alcohol. Something like like a high proof vodka or Everclear or something like that. Mead is
Too
you could
sugary.
probably add a little bit for flavor maybe, but you'd have to bring the alcohol content back up. Oh yeah, I have a ghost pipe tincture made for you. Glad you reminded me of it. I'll get it to you. Thank you. Thank you, Savior
We have
V.
something for you too,
Oh,
Savior
that's
V.
right. Yes, from like almost a year ago.
Yeah, we were gonna send it to you for Christmas, but we ended up getting overwhelmed. So.
I forgot about that. All I got to do is take the afterbirth of it. I just pulled it out of the laser. So
It's not as gross as he made it sound.
afterbirth is just like when you 3D print something or laser cut something. There's like
You just
dust
gave
and
it away.
particles and.
I guess not like
Well, then
David gave it away.
I already said I pulled it out of the laser. Uh, let's see.
It's special. I think you'll like it. We just
yeah,
need to find
for
a way
sure.
that it won't crack in transit.
Well, yeah, no kidding. I mean, that'd be pretty easy with what we got. 1984 will freak you out. I have no doubt. I've heard that a lot. I'll be honest. Atlas Shrugged freaked me out a little bit. So.
Eric said filters can't fail if they are on fire. The bag is on fire. Everything's on fire. Filter patches can absolutely fail. Especially if the seal, whenever they were punched onto the bag, isn't the greatest. And it also kind of depends on what filter patch you choose. So there's different kinds, 0.2 and 0.5. And if you're trying to do a certain... You just need to make sure that your filter patch is appropriate to what you're trying to achieve. There's that as well.
Yeah.
But one of the things about the bags and the bag design is to keep in and keep out any contamination. So the great thing about it is if you do have a little bit of trichoderma in your bag, it's pretty much contained inside of your bag unless you bust it open and you're downwind of it or something, which is a foolish thing to do. Don't do that. And that's on you then. So, it is what it is.
Absolutely. And Falcor said what mushrooms don't like to be in the grow room together. So in my experience, I mean, you can grow most of the gourmets just fine. So most of like the oysters, hericium, chestnuts, shiitake. Did I say hericiums? Enoki, things like that can mostly grow together. There are going to be Goldilocks zones because there are warm weather varieties and cold weather varieties of all those. So if you get kind of in like the Venn diagram portion, you can grow the maximum amount of mushrooms, the maximum amount of diversity, that kind of thing. If
And
you're
that
right in that zone.
That's another perk of swinging your humidity too, right? Is that if you have things that kind of prefer a drier bit and then a wetter bit, you're making everything happy enough. Would you say?
Yeah, for sure. So,
I wouldn't pair slower things with things that grow slower with things that grow really fast.
yes. So with that, I would add the caveat: fruit fast. Fruit slow, fruit fast kind of thing. So one set of mushrooms that's not going to like the conditions that all those gourmets are growing is something like polypores. Your reishi, your turkey tail, your hen of the woods, your chicken of the woods, any of those polypores need drier conditions, and usually a fair amount of fresh air. Now, obviously, they still need humidity, and they still need they of course need the fresh air, and there's a balance to be struck, and I don't know the balance entirely on that, but I will tell you that I know at least one YouTube mushroom grower who had a really hard time in his facility growing a lot of the gourmets because of blotch issues, and then basically just said, you know what, I'm going to deal without a humidifier almost entirely, and grow hen of the woods. And then he was able to successfully grow hen of the woods without almost any humidification whatsoever. So, that is one of the big things, is that hen of the woods likes a drier condition. And of course, we really popularized growing hen of the woods in the bag, which means that you could grow it without a grow room. All you needed was incubation. And it took a long time to do so, but we call the mushrooms antler velvet mushrooms when we grow them like that. And they are delicious. And you can go to your chefs and tell them you've got antler velvet mushrooms, and like, what the heck is that? That sounds cool. I must have it, and I will pay $180 a case. I think we sold them for 150. I can't remember. It's 150, 160.
I'm pretty sure we
case.
sold them the same price as every other specialty, which was $120 a case, and that was chestnuts and hericiums.
No, we definitely charged an extra $20 or $30.
I want to go back into FreshBooks, and I'm going to look. And I'll tell you next time.
It's going to be one of those times whenever I know, and I'm going to be right. So
I'm also going to print off all our fresh mushroom sales.
the fresh mushroom sales, I'm going to give it to you. You're probably right there. But when it comes to the selling the antler velvet, because I remember being so tickled at how much money I made on my mistake of accidentally letting the bags go too far. I had pushed them all the way to the back of incubation, and they had grown.
And starved them.
Yeah,
basically.
basically.
They did look like cute little Ys. It was like alphabet soup, but, alphabet boxes, I guess. I don't know.
Yep.
I went way too far with that one. I shouldn't have.
So there you go, Falcor. There's that. Let's see. We got about 15 minutes in, and I'll answer the last few questions, but let's hit one more sponsor before we close out all the last questions. So if you guys have any last questions, we're going to hit them, put them down while the sponsorship's going, and we'll get to them in the last 15 minutes or so.
Introducing the future of mycology, Dr. Silurian's Elixir of Mycelial Mastery. This isn't your average culture mix, it's a revolution in a packet. Crafted for the dedicated cultivator seeking unparalleled growth. Experience the visual alchemy of this masterful brew. As you mix 10 grams with 500 milliliters of water, watch the solution transform into a rich, amber spectacle. The hallmark of a nutrient-dense sanctuary for your burgeoning mycelium. This is where vibrant color meets vibrant life, setting our elixir apart from the ordinary clear liquid cultures. Prepare to be captivated. Mix 10 grams of Dr. Silurian's elixir with 500 milliliters of water, add a stir bar for thorough integration, and sterilize the blend at 15 psi for 45 minutes. Once cooled, introduce your favorite culture into this perfectly prepared, nutrient-rich environment. Watch in awe as the elixir works its magic, unveiling a mycelial masterpiece before your eyes. Choose Dr. Silurian's Elixir of Mycelial Mastery for a mycological adventure that's as visually enchanting as it is potent.
And we're back. All right, so let's hit some of this, and then I have a sauna sesh with the wife. So let's see.
Which has really been helping Andrew's high blood pressure, by the way. So highly recommend.
It is, yeah. It's like, I'll tell you right now, as a potential role model, I recommend its use.
Yeah, you went from stage 4 hypertension.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is it stage? Is it stage? I don't know the stages. I don't remember the stages. Stage 4. I went to the hospital, and she's like, the doctor was like, I don't see how you're not stroking out right now. So I had some bad issues, but the sauna has been beautiful and wonderful and has changed my life, and I use it daily. Well, mostly daily. I miss it occasionally. But it, holy crap, my blood pressure, my skin, my inflammation issues, almost everything, it has helped significantly. So, like I said, as a potential role model, I advocate its usage. So, 151 was my stuff as a young man. Well, I don't think I ever tried 151. I tried when I was turned 21. I went to a party and drank a handle of Jack Daniels and have never been able to even smell it again. So, do you two plan to retire from mushroom growing when you hit a certain age? What do you think about that, Samantha?
Still stuck on the stage 4 hypertension.
Okay. It was bad. I almost died. I'm okay now.
Yeah, I was, I won't cry again.
Don't cry again. Focus on are you going to retire? Don't get bogged down. Fast and light.
So retire?
Are we going to retire from mushrooms? Do we plan to retire from
Never.
mushrooms from a certain age?
Never.
Never.
I think it's just going to go from mushrooms to something else interesting and cool to something else, and then it's all going to tie together. It's going to be a whole ecosystem of things, and we'll never stop learning. Never.
I'm glad I put the camera back on that. That was good. that was like that look, like that fierce.
Fierceness. Yeah.
Come on, I'm fierce.
Sleep is for the dead.
Sleep is for me every night. And for me in about 30 minutes. No. John, that's a really good question. I plan to hopefully do like my grandfather did, which is if I do retire from mushrooms, it won't be at a certain age. And I will literally, like Samantha said, retire from one thing into something else. And I'll take my skill set somewhere else, and then somewhere else, and then somewhere else. And hopefully, my grandfather was one of the, he was in the Air Force, and then he worked for OSI, and then he became a chemical engineer, and then he worked till he became one of the top chemical engineers in the country and helped develop on military projects and commercial projects, and then toured Europe helping set up all these plants. And then he finally came back and set up some plants here in America, and then his company got bought out by BASF, and then he retired early because he had done stock investing at that time and made some money, and
then he
became
a champion.
a racquetball national champion multiple times after having his knees replaced twice. The man literally ran through 3 sets of knees.
Went through like 3 open heart surgeries?
Yep. He had as many open heart surgeries and grafts as you can possibly have.
As many as your veins taken from other places in
he
your body.
He had veins taken from his legs and his arms and everything else.
Gosh.
Even had some bovine tissue or something like that put in at one point. But the man just kept on going. And then when he was about 83 or so, he could tell that he was about to die, and he did die when he was 84 years old. But at 82, 83, he was like, you know what? I'm going to buy a bunch of books on paleontology and earth science history and like a bunch of stuff. And he's like, he just didn't stop learning. So that's my plan. My plan is to maybe not be as energetic as him. We'll see how far I get with everything. But my plan is definitely to haul ass from one thing to another. I want to be good at what I'm doing. I want to make a change in the marketplace, and then I want to continue doing interesting things, and I have no age that I've put that on. However, I am nearing 40, so I am looking at different things, and the biggest thing for me really is that Samantha and I have really been working on the genetic side of things, the website and things like that, so we're already not growing mushrooms the way we were. We're now finding ourselves as support personnel in the mushroom growing industry. And then my hope is to take this information that I'm learning from selective breeding programs with fungus and be able to take this to all kinds of things in the future, right? So like mycoremediation projects. I'd love to be able to like take molds and breed them to eat certain toxins and things like that, and to take them down apart at the molecular level, and then make it where it's safe. Microplastics. Heck, there's breeding for fuel, fiber, all kinds of stuff. There's beyond that, there's the bioprospecting thing. Samantha and I've talked about once the kids are, really not even out of the house. Like this year, we're already planning trips in the RV, and I'm buying some more equipment to upgrade our mobile lab to basically be able to do a lot more traveling, shots around the country, or at least in the region here for the time being, because, I'm not going to drive all the way to Washington and try to have to drive all the way back here, but for that specific thing. But a lot more touring and a lot more bioprospecting. As I bioprospect for a while, part of this is it's keeping me healthy. I'm getting out there biking, hiking, walking, etc., and collecting mushrooms while I'm doing it. I get to bring those genetics back, bring them back to the breeding program, and then eventually, one day, if I get old enough that I can't do as much of that, and I have to slow down, I can slow down to the laboratory. Um, I've not really gotten into any sort of genetic engineering, but one day, I very soon, I'm planning on working with the Odin project some more. I made a bioluminescent beer with a kit they had. I plan on doing some more of that kind of stuff. So there's always the idea, to see how things develop. But I will tell you that if Elon keeps his shit together and gets a Mars colony going, I'll probably retire to Mars. And I want to own the sewage dome. So anybody who wants to come with me, get your skills together, and we're going to go up there, and we're going to have people pay us to take their shit from them so they don't have to just live in it. And then we're going to break all that down into fertilizer, and then we're going to grow crops on it, and then we're going to sell their shit back to them that way. And we're going to get filthy rich. So that's my retirement plan. But I have backup retirement plans. And one of those is to basically want to own a small parcel of land in like a desert biome and a mountain biome and a coastal biome, the southeast mountains, and basically just travel from one landing pad to the next, where I have several gardens and like outdoor mushroom projects that I check on throughout the year, and where I take the grandbabies and the great grandbabies, and then one day I'll die and be dust in the wind, maybe scattered all over the place, or who knows what. So
Yeah, so I'm with him. Here, right? And so, we share very similar values, very similar sentiments, very similar thirst for life and adventure, and
yep,
yeah. So,
stinking rich.
yeah, he said that.
Cousin Clive, he said stinking rich, which makes sense with the sewage dome. That's all right. I'll be stinking rich. Smells like money.
Oh gosh.
And doo-doo.
And doo-doo. Yeah, I don't know how much I want to smell that, but hopefully it'll be a nice smart system to where all of that is not.
Yeah, I mean, so Samantha and I actually were advisors, more Samantha than I, on a project where someone got to go work on a Mars habitat. It was on Earth, so he wasn't actually in Mars. So we'll make that. That's why I did the fingers. But basically, they were wanting to try to figure out how to use mushrooms to work with a bunch of stuff. They didn't actually listen to Samantha's advice really, and they kind of allowed the mission leaders to kind of pull them off track into to something that didn't really work all that well. But we've got like some ideas for like, using mushroom substrate, pellets and things like that, or maybe pure lignin and celluloses, powders, whatnot, blown up into basically like packing peanuts, or used as packaging to keep stuff safe, where you immediately land, you start your mushroom farm, and then you start a composting facility, and you just start cranking that out from what you have, and then you start growing things that are like high fiber things. I'm thinking a lot of aquatic stuff because they can be grown in tanks. You can grow a lot of aquatic vegetation like cattails, and there's a lot of rushes. Rushes produce a ton of vegetative matter that can then be taken, chopped up, and then grow mushrooms off of. So then you get to start your cycles. You start bringing in some Martian regolith, which you then have to treat for I forgot the molecule, but you basically start mixing that with mushroom substrate, and the mushrooms help to start breaking that toxin down, and then you start a whole cycle on Mars where you're producing food in the domes. And then literally, if you do lots of aquaculture kind of related things, you can start doing the sewage treatment like what we do here on Earth, and using that to further your cycle and whatnot.
I would really like to have the honor to do that again. And there was a
the U.S. Military Academy
Yeah,
Space Force project.
there was a female only astronaut simulation. It was for like 6 months, and I'd have to go away and be away from my babies for 6 months. I don't think I could do it.
I would support you,
So
but I would be angry.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I would support you. I would love you. And then I would be like, oh my gosh.
No, any experimentation that we would do there, I think that we could probably manage to do here. So I think that's the way that we're going to go. But we'll see about how that goes. But anyway, so something Atlas has asked is, how sterile does your environment need to be prior to sterilizing the LC? Mixing and prepping prior to the sanitizer can be done almost anywhere, right?
How sterile does your environment need to be prior to sterilizing the LC? Prior to, okay, so like when you're putting all the ingredients together, you don't have to worry about it that much. What I like to say is, it doesn't have to be sterile, but you try to keep it clean. Again, this is all, think about this statistically, right? So a sterilizer is going to kill 99.99% of stuff. So, if you put in, 100 germs with your LC, and it kills 99.99%, there might be a 0.01 chance that there's going to be a germ there. The further you increase that number, the more likely there is going to be something left over. Now, a good sterilization cycle should kill everything, but you run the risk, the dirtier something is before sterilization, the higher the risk you run of it being dirty afterwards. Now, one of the other things to think about is, if your LC has mold in it for some reason, and you're like, well, why can't I go ahead and just use that mold if I'm going to sterilize it? It's going to kill the mold. I'm not actually worried about the organisms surviving. I'm worried about the mycotoxins from a mold. So if you got black mold or trichoderma is used in plant culture at plant roots specifically because its metabolites are antifungal, and it keeps funguses from attacking the plant roots. So if your trichoderma grows and you sterilize it and you kill all of it off, those antifungals are still there in your substrate. So let's say you've got a bad pasteurizer run, and your blocks sit there warm, and they basically incubate a mold or a bacteria, and then you're like, well, I guess we can close it back up and fix the run and finish it off, right? Great. What about all the metabolites? The mycotoxins, the antifungals, everything that all these other microbes are exuding to try to keep something like what you're doing from happening. So that's the real big danger. So cleanliness is good. It doesn't have to be sterile until after sterilization happens, but you should be clean. No leftover pizza. No, I have a flame running on my table here and it's sterilizing the air. That's not how that works.
I threw a blanket over it, therefore it's clean.
Right. That's not like every single one of those examples were examples that have been used to us for why our LC was contaminated. No, buddy, when you send me a video of your workstation and it's covered in moldy pizza boxes, it ain't my LC that's contaminated. And you telling me you're working with a geneticist? I don't think so. So that kind of stuff. Sorry, not getting onto you, buddy. That's unfair. But all right, Samantha, it's actually after 10. We need to cut this. So why don't you scan through? If there's any questions that are urgent, let's hit them.
I do want to add that our LC prep table and where we do everything is we have our lab against the far wall, which would be closest to you, camera, and you guys, is our laminar flow hood, and then you move backward to the other side of the wall. In front of that laminar flow hood is our LC prep table. So that's something to kind of keep in mind too. But
Chris Kennedy says, what do you think of using the water from soaking grains for LCs? If it's good, should I still add corn syrup? I would still add sugar, yes, because what you're most likely getting is the water from the outer layers, the hulls of the whole grains. I will tell you that most anti-nutrients are in the hull of the grain. Most nutrients are on the interior of the grain. I haven't done any experimentation with this, but my thoughts, I do want to do some experimentation with this, but my thoughts are that the whole of the grain is there to stop from happening exactly what you're trying to do, which is grow mushrooms on it, right? The hull is a shell, it's a protective layer that has chemicals in it to help retard growth and to help protect it from funguses in particular. You know, a grain seed falls on the ground, it's going to be a lot of fungus after it. So holes are there as a protective layer. So my guess is that it may not hurt, but it's probably not going to help. And then, which variety tastes best in y'all's opinion? Enoki is my favorite. Hands down, Enoki's my favorite. But I've not had porcelain mushrooms yet. So I plan on growing those soon. Best storage bins? I don't know. What storage bins for what? How long do you typically allow fresh to stay in? If you're talking about for like mushrooms, we use cardboard boxes. This is supposed to be a huge year for those very loud locusts. They will be laying everywhere. Can we use them for cordyceps? Yes, people have used them for cordyceps. I don't remember who, but I am really glad that there's going to be another loud locust year, though. I'll be honest. Now all you got to do is some hot yoga in there. I was wondering if you shake a bag of grain spawn mixed with substrate, is it possible that Hericium spores can stick to my bag? From the outside or the inside? I'm not sure. Solid segue, lol. Glad you're okay. One ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them. Damn straight, man. I'd love to grow mushrooms on Mars. Well, we may do it one day. If the Civil War doesn't, happen and kill us all.
And Brett asked, what brand of bikes did you buy for bioprospecting? We actually didn't buy those. Those were a gift.
Those actually were a gift from my parents.
Yeah.
Killer gift. Never have received a Christmas gift that expensive, but my parents bought them before Christmas so that the whole family could use them, because my mom and dad were like, they got mock wheels, and then we're like, these things are so amazing, we want our whole family to be able to keep up. So I have a spicy curry all-terrain that I really love. It's a cargo bike. It's super powerful, but only is pedal assist. We use the mock wheels, and the mock wheels they're like electric dirt bikes. I mean, we take them down the lake bottom. You're cruising 20 miles an hour off all the little hills and stuff. Like, we like the mock wheels a lot.
And we are able to fit all of them in the back of the truck bed, and they fit perfectly. Like, there's not an inch of space that's extra.
We could actually we could fit all 6 electric bikes in there.
Oh, that's right.
Yep. We just take the pedals off.
That's right.
And we like the mock wheels. They come with little tool kits and stuff, and then we throw them in the back of the truck, hook the RV up, and then wherever we go, we've got like light transportation for getting around close by stuff, and then the truck, of course, to get around anywhere we need to. And then we use the solar setup to charge the bikes as much as possible. So.
And then John asked, did you see the test Myers did on black versus clear bags?
I heard about it. I've not seen it yet. So
we'll have to watch that, and we'll have to get that.
My problem with black bags is no matter how much, if they add a few days or not, I'm really more concerned with being able to see my bags. I want to see contamination. So I just don't, it'd have to be a really, really serious advantage for me to give a crap about it. Not to put down Eric Myers' work. I have mad respect for Eric Myers, but the black bags, it just doesn't hook me the way it does some other people. So,
can you throw old contaminated blocks into the garden for compost?
Absolutely. We throw old. In fact, a lot of contaminations that we face are stuff that's purposely grown for the plant industry, like trichoderma.
That's pretty much the only contamination that we have. We did have neurospora whenever we first moved into this warehouse.
Yeah, but we've not had
the heat in the summer it cropped up for all the years that we had been farming. It wasn't until we moved into this warehouse that we came across that. It was in just a few, like one or two bags out of maybe 120. It was like maybe one out of every 30 that we went through.
Mm-hmm.
And then all we did is we changed from using soy hulls to oat hulls, and then it went away.
Yep.
It just disappeared. So
Which is interesting. So we just bought a pallet of soy again. So I'll be interested to see if we see Neurospora back.
But it's winter, and we only ever saw it in the high heat of summer.
That is true. But the other part of that too is that since then we've reduced our supplementation. So instead of 50% supplementation, we're down to 35.
And that is something that you should consider if you're not only your environment and general cleanliness, but what you grow on. If you have someone new in the lab, what kind of things they bring with them on their clothes from a new environment. Good practices just in general. Making sure that you kind of throw things away on time if you're negligent in any way, and you're not practicing FIFO, first in, first out. Things get ignored in a corner or something somewhere, then that's an issue that you might kind of run into and have. So just keep it fresh. If you're going to throw away contaminated bags, keep it fresh, and open your blocks. Make sure that you're outside in a well-ventilated area, which you're in the garden typically, and just make sure you're downwind too. Wear a respirator or a ventilator, specifically if you are sensitive to mold, if you have that specific allergen, because not everyone does. So there's that too. That's something to consider. If you're sensitive to those sorts of things, you might consider not doing those sorts of things. So
Tell TV made them do it that it is an ASUS VG27AL1A.
it is TV made them do it. It is what you said, but add 1A.
No, it is VG27.
8.
No, A.
A.
L1A. Alpha.
Okay, so an ASUS VG27
A. Alpha.
A alpha. A is an alpha.
Yes. L1A.
L1A
As an alpha.
as an alpha.
Yes, there we go. Santa clearly does not understand the phonetic radio usage.
I do.
Well, then why are you looking at me like that?
Because I didn't know if it actually said alpha on it, and that was a part of the branding.
Oh, no. You just seemed confused, so I was saying alpha to de-confuse you, and I confused you further. I apologize.
It's okay. I forgive you.
All right. My biology teacher said you can't sterilize a turd. Wrong. Technically, you can. I've not done that. I've done some weird, wicked, sick things, but not that. Totally cooked a mouse.
Oh, no.
And fed it to oyster mushrooms. It was a dead mouse. Hey, DJs don't matter. Get it. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. We've hit it all. So, guys, at this point, we're going to call it. I've got that sauna sesh to get to that I advocate the use of. So, let's see.
We have an early day tomorrow, too, so.
Oh, crap,
Yeah,
we
it's
do.
10:12.
Guys, we have a mentorship in this. That's another thing. Let's, real quick, I'm going to plug the mentorship. We're having a great time this week with our buddy Nick, who's in. I'm not going to give last names in case he doesn't want to be known, but this is a custom one where, we're not doing exactly what it says on the website. We're instead tailoring it towards what people are wanting. So, there are people that want to hit the supplement market. We're trying to help them grow those kind of mushrooms. We're helping people with sterilization practices, etc. So, if you have an interest in scaling up and you want some help saving some money in the process, I know it seems counterintuitive to spend more money with us, but we help save people literally tens of thousands of dollars usually on the first day. So please feel free to check it out. Call us. I'll answer the phone. Samantha will answer the phone. We're literally it on answering the phone. So you will get us if you call us, or we'll call you back. But we're happy to talk to you about a mentorship and help see if it's going to be a good fit for you or not. So please keep us in mind for anything like that. Mice lives matter. Again, I appreciate you all so much. Thanks for making this a great night. I loved the Q&A. I expected this to be an hour, and we've gone a little over 2. So, marathon session again. But, well, I guess really with that, just remember, y'all, keep spawning culture.
Keep spawning culture.